My name is Mario, co-founder of MBK 617 here in Boston.
Hi, my name is Farah. Most people call me Fafa, and I'm the founder of Mom Noir.
My name is Elson, and my name is Wilson. We from Crazy Goods.
Hi, my name is Nike Laniska, and I am a graphic designer, creative, and the owner of Nicely Done Productions.
Hi, my name is Wilson Montero. I'm a founder of Boston 24 Fit Club.
What got me started with having a nonprofit was that I used to volunteer at a nonprofit called Louis D. Brown Peace Institute. It's an organization that helps victims of homicides in Boston. The founder over there, her name is Tina Sherry. She taught me the ins and outs of having a nonprofit and how it could be beneficial. So I created a nonprofit because I used to deal with a lot of brothers from different states, and I wanted to show them the power of getting grants and running a business in that way, and be able to use the nonprofit to get grants to be able to help their community out.
Mom Noir actually has been in business for 3 years, but the production happened about a year now in the midst of COVID. And the why to why Mom Noir exists is me being a mom and being in the mother journey of 12 years now. I'm a veteran at this. Mom Noir actually was founded due to my personal experience of having my daughter and realizing that black maternal mortality is something that we don't talk about, and that black women are actually dying at a faster rate than our counterparts, which is white women. And Mom Noir was formed is because we don't have that extra access after we have the baby. You actually leave the hospital, have one visit, and then you're left with a human being. And you go through these feelings of postpartum, of other complications that can happen. So Mom Noir actually is a community-based where we actually promote wellness. During COVID, I actually became a certified doula, which now I help assist pregnant women bring life into this world without complications.
Basically, our journey started in high school, Madison Park around 2005, where we was basically doing a class project, like a student-run business, where we used to do custom shirts for people or people that, their family members died. We used to do rest in peace shirts or stuff like that. People wanted to do custom stuff. That's how we started.
Do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, and then it's like the name Crazy Goods. It was basically, we had a brainstorming in class where we had to come up with a name for the student-run business, and then like everybody brainstormed, and then it just came up with the Crazy Goods, and then we thought about like a slogan that goes with it, and then we thought about like life is crazy, just make it look good. And then after we graduated 2007, we decided to make it to just continue it. And then all the other students that was with us, they went their separate ways. They didn't want to do it. So me and him, we decided to just keep it going, to make it into a brand instead of just custom stuff. Decided to make it to a brand, to develop a brand. And then we started that journey, going through the process of finding out how we start this brand and things like that.
So I'm very much one of those people, when I find something I like and something I'm good at, I just stay there. So there wasn't much that I felt like I was excelling at. And so graphic design, the arts, being a creative was something that I really felt called to, passionate about, and that I was actually skilled in. So I, decided to go on a journey of self-teaching, learning via YouTube University, and people started asking for help, and I kept helping them, and it kind of snowballed into a business, and so I ran with that.
Actually, they did present me this opportunity, entrepreneur, 2 years prior. I said yes. I was doing tennis lesson when they come to me, introduced to me, and then I was not into it because that's normal stuff, could happen to anybody when we introduced it into entrepreneur, that we had no knowledge, never done it, never heard of it. And for somebody just coming through in your face, that's what happened with me. 2 years later, they reach out, same person, my sponsor, reach out to me again, show me exactly how it is, what it is, put myself into it. When he bring me to the club, a fit club in Brockton, and the thing I see is, because back on my mind, I'm always have a dream that like I have a tennis court, a house, and a pool, and teach young kids how to play tennis. But that was my mindset. When I see it, he's out there change people's life, adults' life, into health life, doing workout and with nutrition implying. Then I was like, and also, I was doing 5 jobs at that time, and I see one of my friend put honestly money out of the pocket. I was like, how did you make that money? I'm killing myself on 5 jobs. I don't even have time to spend it with my kids, but you sitting back there with your son, but you made more money than I did like 8 hours ago working. It's like, no, I'm just here helping make a difference in people's life. I said, by doing what? It's like, oh, I'm doing Herbalife. I'm helping people get healthy and happier. I said, can you teach me how to do it?
The way I got into the coffee business is I moved out of Boston because I just kept getting arrested all the time. And the police wouldn't give me any breathing room. So I finally moved out of the neighborhood. And I had nothing, like no license, no car, not $1 to my name. And my wife was basically just holding us down. So I had to, I ended up getting a temp job at a coffee company through Stacy. She helped me get this job. So I got in the coffee business. I started as a temp. From a temp, I ended up getting permanent. Permanent became a supervisor. From supervisor, I became a manager. And then I learned the business of how coffee works. I learned how to repair the machines. And I started to learn about how you can, having a tech, and you send a text every time the machines break down. Build a relationship with the techs. Then when one of the companies was up for sale, they're making high 6 figures. They gave me an opportunity to buy it. So my wife and I bought it. And then dealing with the nonprofit, it was more because even though I moved out of here, my heart belongs here. Man. My heart belongs here, and watching people suffer and go through a repetitive cycle of violence it just never settles right with me. You know what I mean? So I wanted to give whatever I could, if it was my time, if it was any knowledge, if it was money, then I wanted to help kids get out of it, because I used to see a lot of the older guys from around here, the ones that escaped, they would just take off, never come back, but they made their wealth. They made their wealth on my blood and my friend's blood. And then once they got their life right and they moved away, they didn't give a fuck about us no more. I never wanted to be like that.
Well, being a mom, and also I had the opportunity to be part of 2021's Fairmount cohort with the assistance of Justin and Joelle, my mentor. They actually pretty much navigated and actually did a big help in assisting me bringing my ideas into actually fruition into an actual business. So it started off as a name, and then from the name, it manifested into something that I could honestly say 3 years ago probably wouldn't have been what it is now. So I'm now taking it day by day. We just recently launched some merch over Juneteenth weekend, and now we're taking it further. My vision for Mom Noir is to actually have a birthing center where I can connect with a lot of other companies and vendors throughout Massachusetts that are Black owned.
Basically, we used to always draw. So we used to get let's say we in class or whatever, and I used to hate academics, so we used to just draw on tables and stuff like that until like I'd say sophomore year. I was had a teacher where he told me about graphic design, and I never knew you could make money off of drawing or designing or anything like that. So I was just going to school because I had to, until I fell in love with design.
So before I actually started, all I had was really an interest. And at the time, I was in the atmosphere, the same atmosphere that my mentor was. Shout out to Fena Fenelon. And she really grew that interest and helped me develop my skills, my thinking as a freelancer and as a potential entrepreneur. She showed me a lot, and that also ignited a fire in me to go ahead and continue to teach myself via YouTube and other online courses. And so that's really how I developed my skills, just on my own and with the guidance of my mentor.
I'm not very good with fitness yet because I know nothing about fitness. Only thing I did know is how to, because I'm a tennis player, how to work out using the skill about tennis. Then I went to Melina Cast and asked my partner for the tennis, hey, how can I go and be able to get space just like we did for tennis, because you were the only one to handle the paperwork. I didn't. I only handled the court, teaching the kids, that was it. He was like, oh, this is information, this is what you do, and then I reach out, they give me 2 days. So make it even better, 2019, January 8, 2019, I started my Boston 24 Fit Club in Roxbury.
I've always wanted to be my own boss. The nonprofit that I have, I don't consider that my business, because I don't take any money from that business. I don't have myself on a payroll. My business was running a repair shop, a repair business where we fix machines at restaurants, which is a very niche business, because there's only 3 of us in Massachusetts that did that. And we repaired coffee machines and espresso machines. So I had the contracts with the majority of the hotels in Boston, all of the colleges, universities, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks. That was predominantly my income.
Being an entrepreneur is amazing, stressful, sometimes frustrating, because you're in control of your business. But then everyday life also happens as well. And I say this because during the pandemic, I've lost 3 people who were close to me. And I can honestly say, when you work for corporate America, you don't really have those days where you take off. So in your sadness, you still have to go to work. In your sadness, you still have to punch in and, make sure the other company that you're working for is having their fulfillment in what they pay you for. And sometimes with entrepreneurship, you don't have that time. And sometimes you might be stagnant in your company where, either the imposter syndrome kicks in or you fall into, depression sometimes. And I think at that point is when you need solid, people around you that's like, hey, you can lean on me, you can count on me and stuff. So I can honestly say, through this roller coaster of entrepreneurship, as amazing as it is, it's also scary too, because you have a vision that you want to make sure comes to light, but then at the same time, it's like everyday life happens. So what separates that from corporate is you lose your job, corporate. It pays your bills and stuff. And though like my corporate job does fund some of what I do with Mom Noir, it's 2 different, I guess, mental paths that I take when it comes to corporate and entrepreneurship.
One of the things I feel like when I used to have a regular job, it was kind of like the way people talk to you because they're above you, like because of a title. And that thing never sat well with me. I used to work at a hospital where I would see coworkers that were like 60 years old, and they're being talked down because they were like a nurse would talk down to a cleaning lady, but the cleaning lady is about 60 years old. And I always never sat well with me, like somebody could talk to me any kind of way. And I was like, I can't work for somebody and get somebody else rich, and I'm just wasting my years for money when we could create money.
Man, when I was an employee, which was, I done had like 20 jobs, but when I was an employee, I was never really focused on the business in itself. I was focused on coming in, doing my job, getting things done, and then bouncing. But now that I've had to put on a business CEO cap, I'm very much aware of everything that's going on. So not just the job that needs to be done, but also how it's being done, who's doing it, how does the client feel, what's the client's experience, invoicing, contracts, all those things, things so I don't get sued. You know, just there's so many things to think about. So I think, you know, when you're a business owner and you're kind of like in charge of something, you have to think about all aspects. Even if you're not in charge of, even if you're not necessarily doing everything, you have to make sure everything is running smoothly. So I think that's the biggest difference, especially for me, transitioning from an employee, from those 20 jobs to now becoming my own boss and CEO.
So the difference between entrepreneur and being my own boss, and actually being my own boss is entrepreneur, but like work for somebody else is technically I'm helping somebody else achieve their dreams. I'm leaving my dream behind. If you look so me working 5 jobs is I have no time for my family. I have no time for me actually take care of myself, but I'm must work in, just like Jim Rohn says, work harder on yourself than your job. I was doing opposite. I was working harder on my job than myself. When I understand that phrase, that quote, I was like, you know what? I need to focus on work on myself, on my business.
The obstacles in owning that type of business is that coffee is considered a caffeine and is very addictive. So it was very high strung and very stressful business to have. You know, you start getting calls at 5 o'clock in the morning and you either have to be at a location in New Hampshire or Western Mass or in Rhode Island. And getting up at that time in the morning and driving out there myself or sending one of my texts out there was very stressful to begin with. And then also, if I'm at a location, because my business covered the 3 states, so I pay taxes in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. So if in order to be able to get, if I needed parts for a machine, I needed to send an invoice to the manufacturer to get the parts. I couldn't get from New Hampshire, 4-hour drive to Massachusetts, get into my office, do the invoice, and then send it out. So it was very stressful to maintain.
I think the only obstacle I could say that I have is myself. When I do express my business and I tell my vision to other people, they're excited. I was raised in a Haitian household, and though I love my parents, we were raised where you know what is required, but it was never poured into us that I'm proud of you. It was an expectation, then more so of this is what I need you to do or I'm cheering you on. Like I remember graduating high school and remember graduating college and my mom is like, well, what's next? Like, what are you gonna do? It was like something that I had to prove. Not saying I needed to prove for them to love me because they loved me unconditionally, but being first generation Haitian in America, it was an expectation because not only was I fulfilling my own dream for myself, I was also fulfilling their dreams too, because they had the dream of the American dream. I want to have my kids in America. I want to buy my house. I want to make sure my kids are raised, but it also made them not fulfill their personal dreams as my parents. So the pressure was on. So I had a lot of roadblocks, when I started Mom Noir. It's because I was like, wow, like, am I doing it right? Am I not doing it right? And I think the obstacle was more myself. Like I had to learn how to pour into myself and pour that, that praise within myself. Even though people were doing it for me, I realized that the only thing that was stopping me from moving forward was me.
As an entrepreneur, you're always going to face like a lot of brick walls and just problems and conflict. And for me, that was learning how to be professional, learning how to be organized, and also learning how to be a business owner, and more of a business owner than a creative at times, because sometimes as a creative you want to jump into the project, you want to develop what your vision is, what your client's vision is, and sometimes you forget like you're also a business owner, so you have to set those systems in place to make sure everything's running smoothly. So that's definitely some things I struggled with in the beginning, and just becoming a business owner, and remembering that I'm still a creative, but the business needs to run as well.
You have the freedom to come and go, especially if you have a family. You don't have to ask for time off if I got to take my child to the hospital. You're providing jobs to the community. You're able to treat your employees like humans and not just a dollar sign. But the overall freedom and having my own sustainability and dictating how I'm going to spend my life and my time was the overall advantage of what I enjoyed about it.
I'm a creator by nature. Like you can give me a blank canvas and I will make a Picasso. So I can say, being my own boss, I will put 100%. I will never put my name on something that doesn't come out correct. But it also has a disadvantage too, because I'm a perfectionist. So I had to learn sometimes through this business and anything that I'm doing that the failure is the lesson in what I'll learn to be better. So if I wait too long to produce something, I'm only stopping myself from succeeding.
I feel like by being your own boss, you get to create your own legacy. You get, like if you notice, like all these companies are somebody else's last name. So like this Koch brothers, this Ford, and I never want to feel like if I'm on this earth, I gotta leave something behind. And by you being your own boss, that's the only way. It's either you're gonna work for somebody and make somebody else rich, or you're gonna work for yourself and make yourself rich. Me, I never wanna like get on my deathbed and just, damn, I spent all this time and I never try. I'd rather feel trying than having that feeling of, damn, what if I did this? What if I did that?
No boss. Nobody tell you what time to get up. Nobody tell you what to do or not to do. The business is yours. You have to get up and get you going. If you want to make a difference on your life, your family, and your friends, everybody you see on the community, you have to be the one to lead. Don't be the follower, be the leader, because people will follow whatever your decision you make, whatever you go. Because if I'm working for somebody else, they had to force me to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go work at 4. But if I'm, just like right now, I only have one job now. Every single day I had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, force myself, even if I don't want to, but I have to. Because I have to, it's a job. I have to go GOB. Otherwise, they're going to say, see you later. But my business I do, I only use my phone. Anywhere I go, any part in the country, and we are in 96 country. So I'm my own boss. I don't need people telling me what to do and what not to do. That's a difference I got from GOB and be my own boss.